Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wild Thoughts podcast. I'm your co-host Kat.
I'm your co-host Afi.
And today's episode is all about healing from past trauma. So it's going to get a little serious today, but before we get into that, we're going to start with our updates as per usual. Afi, what'd you do this week? What's going on?
Okay. Honestly, wait. Remember I told you I was going electric scooter? Yeah. Okay, that was so fun, but I got a bunch of scars. I almost
you have so many bruises. Holy shit.
But they're scars. I think they just got brown, but this is from something else. That's a mosquito bite. But it was really fun, but at first to get the hang of it, because the thing is to accelerate, you have to turn the handle your way. Not the opposite way. So for me, every time, and it's
a
really
motorcycle's the other way though, no?
But it just to me, it makes more sense to go that way.
Go.
Accelerate. So I was just I would mess that up a little bit. Yeah. And I did accidentally, because the thing is, when it's on, if you accidentally put your hand on it and turn, when you're stopped, then it's going to start moving, right? Yeah. And I did that by accident because it's very sensitive. So you have to make sure it's off. And I kind of fell twice. And then I almost ran into a cycle. And I also had a partner, right? It was two on a bike. So, and I made that person fall. But they were fine. They fell on my school bag. So, and the cyclist is fine because he swerved us. He was
that poor cyclist.
Yeah, he was not to be impolite, but please be careful. He was actually really nice because I think he felt bad that maybe he hurt someone, but it wasn't his fault anyways, but we were fine. But yeah, I recommend. It's really fun. It's not that expensive. It's if you do 2 people for 6-7 hours, it's $50 each. If you don't know how to ride a bicycle, they probably won't let you ride that because you need to know the balance. So 2 of our friends didn't know how to ride bikes, but they wanted to try later when we got to a certain place. So they started trying, but they kind of got into a little accident and we broke the phone stand. So they charged us extra for the phone stand and the pedal or something, but whatever, it happened. It wasn't a lot, but that's why it was a bit more expensive. But I think that was the highlight. It was really, really fun, and I'd do it again. And we went all the way
to the Old Port?
Yeah, we started at the Old Port. We went all the way to Lachine. not the canal, Lachine,
the
area. Yeah. And we were on this little island where it's on Fleuve Saint-Laurent, and there's water, and you're on both sides. So you're a little land, and I've never been there. It's beautiful. There's water everywhere.
You have to take us there.
We need to go. It's so nice. I was whoa, I didn't know this part of Montreal, but that was really fun.
That's so nice.
I do it again, but I'm scared. But I do it again.
I'd be scared. I'd be oh my god, what do I do?
Yeah, it's when you turn, because you have to accelerate. That's how you have control. But because you're scared, you don't want to accelerate. So you go slower, and then you lose control. So, but anyways, that was pretty much it.
That's nice.
And then working. What about you? I know you have fun up there.
Yes. So I went to Toronto. I'm back now. It was so fun. Toronto. I freaking love Toronto.
The 6.
But honestly, okay, first of all, people are very vocal there.
Yes, it's true. You told me. I was wow, they're so nice.
Everyone was complimenting my outfits, and I felt so good. I was wow,
that's
okay.
When strangers
I put effort into my outfit.
Yeah,
so
and especially when it's strangers, because you know that they actually mean it.
This one woman, I was pissing. She literally stopped me on the street. She was in her 40s. She's that dress fits you like a glove. I was
isn't that the best compliment? It's and
she's
basically saying that dress is made
she
for you.
said she complimented me at first, but I thought she was because there was a lot of weirdos in downtown Toronto. There's a lot of mentally ill people that talk to people. Because they're all very extroverted there. Yeah. In Montreal, no homeless people, no mentally ill people try to talk to you. They'll just keep going. Here they'll try to talk to you.
I feel that's where the stereotype of Canadians being nice, it comes from Toronto. I don't know why. It's not Quebec.
Because even there was this kind of weirdo that was trying to talk to us, and we were trying to ignore it, but the people behind us started talking to them, and I was I'm the culture between Montreal and Toronto
attitude. It's
so different.
I'm not taking your shit back.
So at first she was talking to us, but then because I've been encountering all these weird people, I was I'm not going to talk to this person. But then I realized that she was complimenting me, and then she was that dress.
Oh my god. And when they put it that
so
passion.
Yeah, I was
thank you so much.
Oh my god.
I love you. And you just want to be friends with them.
Yeah. And that dress, I got complimented also at the mall by one of the workers. I felt my head was just
okay, you deserve it. You go queen.
Yeah, but I freaking love Toronto. We went to the Hockey Hall of Fame for Nick, which I also enjoyed because I you know.
Like hockey Habs.
Yeah, whatever. But like I just like seeing things. Like I like learning about things.
Because they have the Toronto Maple Leafs, right?
Yeah. I forgot that they had a hockey team. Because you think the Hockey Hall of Fame. Yeah. Like there's so much Habs stuff there.
Oh really? I would think
there's a whole room. Leaf there's a whole room just for Habs.
But it is because we still represent Canada, but it's obviously representing Montreal, and they have their own.
So that's why I completely forgot that Toronto had their own hockey team until I saw one of the jerseys. I was like, oh my god! I'm like, I'm so dumb.
Won a Stanley Cup before?
I don't know. I don't know who's won Stanley Cups. I don't know. Okay. But yeah, it was super cool. Then we went to the art gallery, which like was kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like they had the Andy Warhol exhibit, but we didn't pay for that, so we just went to the regular museum. Okay. Like it was still nice, but like
I feel like museums are boring.
I think it depends. Like if the ones in Europe obviously are fucking magical. But like this one, like it was kind of
they're not interactive, right? Like it's like a piece of which is nice. That's the point of a museum. But it's also
they didn't have my kind of painting. Like I like impressionism.
Okay.
Is that what it's called? Impression, like Monet and stuff like that. Okay. When there's a lot of color. This one was very like
gray.
No, it was very like
gray.
One thing that was cool, they had a lot of Aboriginal stuff.
Okay.
So that's like really cool.
It was more like historical.
Yeah, and like art? Canadian art. Yeah. And then the European art was all about Jesus. Like there was so much Jesus, and I'm like, I don't like this.
Oh, interesting.
Like because it's all like old Italian and like that.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
So like they're very religious.
Yeah.
So I was kind of not into it. You like Jesus? I'm like, this is a lot of Jesus. But yeah, so it was still nice. Like I liked, like I said, the Aboriginal stuff, but everything else, like it wasn't that exciting.
It didn't speak to you. Yeah. You were like
I really like colorful paintings and stuff
maybe
like
like
that.
More and modern too. Not modern, but I don't know.
No, but
I know what you
So it was still nice to go through it, and there was so many people like dressed nicely to take pictures inside.
We love that.
This one girl, I swear to God, she was wearing a formal gown. My girl.
A gown?
Like a gown. And then I walked into a room one time with Nick and they were taking pictures and I'm like, I feel that.
Oh my god. Is Toronto like our LA maybe? Like,
I feel like
New
Vancouver.
York?
It's our New York. Because then they have like near the Eaton Center, it feels like Times Square.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I don't know if I don't remember during the
night.
Like
a bunch of billboards and like high, it's true. Like it feels like Times Square there. Yeah, but anyway, so it was nice. Then we went to the aquarium. And
how was that?
I love the aquarium. I guess okay. We're gonna go. We're gonna take a girl trip to Toronto because it's so nice.
And it's like we wouldn't have any trouble, especially during COVID, because it's within our country. So.
It's so nice. I freaking love the aquarium.
Oh my, were there like really big fish?
Yeah,
I know it's an aquarium.
There was sharks. There was stingrays. There was big fish.
God. Yeah, isn't that scary?
I mean, no, not really. The only thing, it was really crowded, and it wasn't as crowded the last time we went, and now it's COVID. And there was so many kids running around, they were like running through our legs. I was getting really nervous.
Maybe people are so eager to like do stuff and go out.
But like the
probably
kids
a lot of people
like,
visiting too, because they like you could go to the States, but people probably just want to like
I heard a lot of French too. But like a lot of like, okay, I don't want to be rude because I know like it's hard to control kids, but like control your kids.
Yeah.
Like they're shoving people.
Oh my
And then there was like, in the aquarium, there's like a moving floor so that the part that it's like 360 in water, you just stay on that and it moves you.
Oh shit.
And they put stickers so you can stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah, exactly. And the kids are just like...
This one mother and kid behind us, the kid was up Nick's ass the entire time. So we tried to keep moving.
So they would kind of get the hint too to like...
The kid was like stuck up his ass.
Oh
I'm like, can you fucking control your kid? I'm like, it's so nasty. And they're like yelling next to us. Everyone was like this close to us. I'm like, can you move? Like...
That's me anywhere. Like I was just at the grocery store and if you don't stand on your freaking line, I'm just like...
They had sanitation things everywhere. I was washing my hands everywhere because I'm like, I'm disgusted.
Yeah, but it's just like the principle. Like, sir,
just wait your turn. Just wait your turn. And we're on a moving thing. Why are you walking forward? Like, just wait.
He did not understand the concept.
Oh, I was getting so annoyed.
It was the mom not doing any, or the dad, mom.
The mom. It was just a mom and the kid doing nothing.
She's like,
Like, But anyways, other than that, it was super nice. We went to a lot of restaurants.
Yeah.
And I had so many drinks.
Oh my god.
It was very nice.
Yeah, it looked good.
It was a nice little vacation.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah. Okay, you rested and you're ready.
Yeah.
You deserved it. You deserved your week, off.
Yeah, my week. There's like 3 days left.
Oh my god.
Sad.
Oh,
I made the mistake of checking my emails, my work emails.
Girl!
I didn't like go through them.
Okay.
I just wanted to see if there was anything that said emergency.
Yeah.
I have 99 plus unread emails.
But none emergency.
No.
But you just have...
But I saw the number 99 plus and I'm like...
How did you have 9? I just like not put... I mean, yeah, I guess you could look at it later, but if I'm on vacation,
no.
Don't send them to me.
No, that's why I turned my notifications off and everything, but that was curious. I'm like,
yeah,
let me just
I
go
get
check.
it. Okay, well...
Should not have done that, but it's fine.
It's okay.
I'm still not checking them.
Yeah, don't check until you go back to work, Kathy.
Yeah. No. But I'm gonna have to start early to sift through them.
Okay, amazing. Well, so before we get into our topic, I don't know why I'm looking there when the camera's there. It's just like distracting. But before we get into our topic, of course, we have our question of the day. So let's see what the results are. So the question was, do you believe past trauma needs to be a big situation or can be small things that affected you now? So 100% of the respondents said little things too.
Yeah.
So there you go. You have the answer. That trauma is also a result of like little things and doesn't have to be like a big incident necessarily.
Yeah.
So I guess to like dive into the topic, we should maybe define like the types of trauma. And we did a little bit of research about it too. There's like other types that you can categorize it by also, but this is what we went by.
Yeah.
So
it's a big topic, so there's a lot that can be spoken about. But
exactly.
We're kind of narrowing it down a little.
Exactly. So the two categories actually are the big T and the little t. So I'm assuming T stands for trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. But I just realized that actually I didn't think. I was like, why is it T?
Oh my god.
That's so stupid. And so for the big T, I don't know if Kathy, if you want to explain it.
Yeah, I'll kind of like surface level it.
Yeah.
Basically, big T is traumatic events that happen that are like big things that are gonna like affect you in that moment and affect you for the rest of your life. So it's a lot of like post-traumatic stress disorder type of stuff. Like, let's say if you were in the war, if you got sexually abused, if you were just abused in general, if there was like a big death that impacted your life, just like very intense situations that you were put through that live with you now. And it said even if you're a witness to someone else's big traumatic disorder, you can get symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder.
Exactly. That makes sense because like if you witness someone going through traumatic things, then it's gonna traumatize you as well.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool. And then the little T are more, I guess, like on personal level. So they're less like they're non life-threatening. So they could be like bullying, I guess like death of a pet or harassment, and maybe like losing like relationships, but not necessarily like
it's more like emotional
stuff. Exactly. The other one I guess was also very related to like physical things, physical like trauma. Like I know that I think all of us, like even if like answering to our story, we have like little things that can traumatize us. And I think trauma is also seen as like, oh, like, something big has to happen. Like you can't say you're traumatized. But now I feel like growing up, I understand that like, oh, little things in my childhood made me traumatized. Like, you know, you don't have to go through something like crazy. There's so many types. But like even some of the things we've talked about here, like harassment, like our collab episode, you know, like women being harassed or men being harassed, like that's traumatizing. Like being catcalled, being like anything like that can make you feel shitty and just not is like also not consensual, not wanted, like that's traumatizing. And these are things that are like consistent too, you know, like I'm pretty sure most women get like harassed some type of way every day, and then that is like traumatizing. Maybe you get anxiety. We even talked about it, like some of the ways you could get anxiety, you could feel anger, frustration, so like that comes into play too,
for sure. And I was telling Afiyat before that we had a conversation with Leanna about this, like just one day when we were driving, and I'm gonna ask her about it because I think she mentioned that she was reading a book, and this is what sparked the conversation. But if you would have asked me before that discussion, like if trauma was little things, I would have said no, because I felt like I thought beforehand that it had to be a big thing that impacted you when you were a child, or just like we said before, the death of, let's say, a significant other, or like a father or a mother, stuff like that. That had to be something big that affected you intensely.
I get what you mean,
you know? But then we had that conversation with Leanna, and we were just talking about stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, like, this little thing actually, like, affects the way I am when I'm doing
it's like
this.
Indirect kind of.
It's like also like subconsciously.
Exactly. It's like the direct things, like the death of like, you know, that like it's all traumatizing. You can tell it's like very direct, but things you have to analyze, sometimes you don't realize that they're actually like traumatizing. Like even being bullied like as a teenager, or like having like toxic friendships, you know, like
stuff like
those could be traumatizing, because maybe that'll lead you to not open up in your other friendships or act a certain way, or like. So all of these things like create trauma. Like, there's a lot of like consequences to like any action, I think. But that's why I was like, when I was like looking into it, I wasn't sure if I was like, oh, I guess I was seeing trauma in too many things.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, am I mixing it up with something?
You know what I thought of? Because, you know why I realized the reason I don't like hugging and like physical touch is because, this is why I had a tough time with this, because I don't think it's traumatic. What I went through, but it's like something that impacted me in the future. So I'm like, let me say it. But basically, I realized, because my whole family has a sweating problem. Okay. So let's start there. I sweat very easily. And like, it started when like I think I got my periods when like 12, 11, like puberty, stuff like that. Yeah, exactly, puberty. And when I was in elementary, I would like sweat my armpits to my shirts, and even high school, stuff like that. So I never wanted people to touch me, because I was self-conscious about the sweat.
Oh, what if they
and
notice?
Sometimes like it would happen, and someone would make a comment, be like, why are you wet?
Why are you sweaty? And
let's
normalize sweating.
Now I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm like, look at my sweat.
Bitch,
like,
it's my natural glow.
Yeah, literally. But like, because that people would make like little comments
things,
about it. I didn't want people to touch me. I didn't want to hug people. I'm like, no, and if I did hug people, I would always go under. So I would lift my arm.
I get it.
But like,
I always do the side hug.
Yeah. We said this. But like, I was just like thinking, I'm like, oh, is that like a little bit of trauma? Because I'm like, I don't want people to touch me because of that.
That is what trauma is. It's like stressful anxiety because of certain like things that have happened.
Yeah, I get anxious every time like something physical has to, like if I need to hug someone or say like hi to someone, I'm like, don't touch me.
But also like the sweating thing, I feel like also because as women too, like if you're a guy and you're sweaty, it's like it's fine. Oh, it's hot, you know, or something. I don't know. Not for me, but like it's like stereotyped for women too. Like it's crazy how. But
I know a lot of guys that do sweat a lot too, and they're self-conscious about it too.
Yeah, exactly. It could, for sure. Yeah. But then also like I feel like as a woman, like you're not supposed to be like sweaty or like you know.
Bitch, it's 32 degrees.
Yo, you think I'm not gonna sweat? Like no, listen, girl, I sweat a lot too, and like I think I'm like a bit self-conscious about it because some people like I thought it was normal to sweat this much. And some people don't.
Yeah.
Like,
I used to never wear color because it would always sweat through it. And now I'm like, if I sweat,
it's normal.
I sweat.
Girl, it is normal to sweat. It's okay. We barely sweat.
Thank God we're both back. Oh my God. That's on your computer. Hold on.
It's fine. It's so gross. It's fine at this point.
Oh my God. But yeah, I used to always wear black or white because I'm like, if I show my sweat, I'm like, no, it's not happening.
That sucks. But like, I'm happy that like, you know, that it's normal to sweat. But it is true that like, people sweat differently. Like, different people have different, like, there are some people that just don't have body odor and just don't sweat. And I'm just like, what? But most people, I fucking hate you. But most people sweat. Yeah. You can get like, I don't want this, but you know, Botox.
Okay, yeah. I was literally thinking about it. Not even gonna lie. I mean, it might it's not good for your body because then it'll sweat somewhere else.
Yeah, like your pores.
Yeah. Like, and I already sweat like in my face. I'm like, whatever.
Exactly. It's good to sweat. So.
Yeah, I'm sweating in my face right now.
We don't need that. We
got the lights. It's hot.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so that was like a little thing that I thought of out of the blue, but that, like I have other stuff.
Yeah.
Talk about,
but yeah, for me too. Like I think a lot of like, I think a lot of maybe not everyone, but people like go through like childhood trauma too. And that's why maybe we don't recognize it as trauma, because we don't think about it. Like maybe we didn't know what trauma was when we were a child. Yeah. So when we grow up, we don't associate it to that. But now I'm like, oh shit, like maybe having this relationship like with my parents was traumatic. Like, I don't know, like for example, like I love my mom, but her side of the family is very like criticizing sometimes. Like I love them, they have good qualities to them too, but they could kind of like criticize, and they're not like they're more pessimistic than they're optimistic. And I realize that I'm like an optimistic person, so I need someone to encourage me, or like not compare me to others, or like just the way that you say things. But like because they have that personality, they would say things in a way that like I didn't respond too well, so I always felt like shitty. And that's where I think, like, not to blame it on my childhood, but that's where I think like my imposter syndrome or maybe low self-esteem comes from, or me always like apologizing, saying sorry for no reason. Like, it's like to overcompensate, or just like because I guess I never felt like maybe good enough because of the way I was spoken to. I'm not saying here I was like fucking abused and stuff, obviously, but like
we're just analyzing our thoughts.
And it's just like, okay, some people have certain personalities and they communicate a different way, and that communication method, especially for a child, may not always be right. But also like that brown culture, like they grew up very traditionally. They're not really, back then they weren't really educated about like mental health, like how to speak to your children. Like they didn't have the privilege of unfortunately learning that. But I mean, some people just naturally have those instincts, and they're just good at like being like, you know, communicating properly. But also like, you know, my family, like in Bangladesh, like, you know, having the right body and the beauty standard, like it's very much a thing. And like from a young age, if you're like gaining weight, they're gonna point it out. And like I feel like every time I was around my family, like my not necessarily my close family, but like my not my direct family, but like my aunts, my uncles, or sometimes my direct family too, but they would like be like, what, even if it was losing weight or gaining, we'd always have to like say like a comment about the weight. You lost weight, but it would be in a positive tone, the lost weight. And then you gain weight, it would be in like, oh, like a worried thing.
Like my family, like the Italian side, they're both Italian, but like
the more traditional,
it's the same thing, but it's there's a double standard in ours, because it's like if you're a guy, they're like, let's eat, come on, oh, you're too skinny, blah, blah, blah. But then if like we're eating too much, they're like, oh, that's a lot of food. It's like stuff like that, you know. Exactly. So like I 100% understand that.
And exactly, and because of that, every time someone makes a comment about my weight, I'm so sensitive. And it doesn't have to be like a negative. They could just be like, oh, you gained weight, like factually, like just like, but because it's associated to negative, or like when growing up, whenever I gained weight, it was like a negative, I get triggered and I just freak. Like it just, I feel like people are yelling at me, even though it's just like one person saying something. Like my uncle came a couple years ago, and he was like, oh, I was having like pancakes with Nutella. He's like, oh, what are you eating? I'm like, oh, it's like chocolate. And he's like, oh, be careful with chocolate, like don't. And I was like, what the fuck are you trying to say? And I literally had a whole fit, and I was just like, and it's very much in our culture, like, you don't talk back, you don't make... But I was like, I'm done with all your shit. But maybe he didn't mean it in a in intentionally, like,
they don't, bad but that's way. The thing, when the traditional, what's it called, mindset, they don't realize how bad and how much it's going to impact. Because they're like, so used to it. They're like, oh, this is what we do.
That's the thing. But even nowadays, like... someone will say, oh, you lost weight, but like in a celebratory way. I'm just like, why do you need to mention whether someone gained or lost weight? Like, just shut up and hug them and like be happy. I'm just like, ugh. I mean, but I feel like I'm so sensitive to it nowadays. But hey, like, I mean, those are consequences. And sometimes I'm just like, you guys did this to me. But anyways.
No, I understand that. And also, like, as a kid, I used to get comments from like other kids, but it wasn't like they weren't trying to be mean, but they would make these passive comments that would make me self-conscious. And also, like, I realized I played soccer as a kid, and most of my team was skinny. And then, like, one thing that I always remember, every time that I played sports, my shorts were always tight on me. Because, like, I have thighs and an ass. And everyone else, it was, like, super loose on them. I always had to get, like, the bigger sizes, and I was always afraid to, like, say my size when I needed to get a jersey or something, or like if I was changing in gym class, I would always try to hide the label, like shit like that, because I would get comments. But
fuck
like
you fucking
and that's why like still now like I'm more confident about my body now because like I've been
and you see more you're more represented to the media
exactly but still I get those thoughts like that. I think it was Leanna's episode I mentioned that I looked at myself and I'm like, oh shit, I gained weight, and then I was like analyzing myself, but like so I still get into those moments, but because I'm working on myself more now, I don't stay in that mindset.
You can get out of it more quickly.
Quicker.
Exactly. And because those like thoughts, like they become a habit. Unfortunately, yes, you can improve, but in a way, like they'll be in the background, like they'll be kind of there because they were thoughts that you had already. So you could unlearn those habits, but when you have habits, that's why it's so important to like talk to whoever, just like talk to them nice, okay? Like speak to yourself nicely. And I know that's hard, but it's like even growing up, like I don't want to tell you guys how to parent, but it's so important how you view yourself as a child, because that's how you're going to view yourself maybe as an adult, but you could fix it, of course, but like the natural way that you view yourself, it'll just...
And you know what? I've realized sometimes that like the way that people, like either my family or like people, sorry, my dog is trying to get out. People that like used to talk to me sometimes because I was so used to it. Sometimes I say it and then I catch myself. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, why am I judging that person? Why am I saying it? No, but not even to them. To
it's
like
just
other
because
people.
You were used to like being spoken to that way, so you
it like comes out, and then I catch myself. I'm like, whoa, why the hell am I saying this?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I get it. Yeah. You like analyze it, or sometimes I'll have thoughts. I'm like, oh, she gained weight, or she like, I'm like, stop.
Yeah, and I'm like,
but the thing is also, sorry, that was so bit harsh. Sorry, but also sometimes the thing is with the gaining weight, it's because it was always linked to like being ugly, or you gained weight, you're fat, you're not pretty. But that's not what it is. But it's hard now to dissociate those and just take for the okay, you're a bigger person. Okay, but because society has made it that it's like, oh, you're big, you're ugly. It's hard to not.
It's okay. Finish your thought.
It's hard to like say things to people like just, oh, okay, like you're big, like just saying how you're skinny, like it's hard to make those equal, like, oh, you're slender, even if you say like, oh, you're big, like, you know what I mean, it sounds odd, so you never want to say someone gained weight, even though it's not a bad thing. It could even make you like, maybe some people like that you gain weight and it makes you look better, you know?
I think, but that's the thing, it's also a cultural thing, because like some cultures are like,
the curve, exactly,
and others are like, no, you need to be skinny to be pretty.
Exactly. I want to also talk about like emotional eating, like because like some consequences like of trauma. Yeah, okay. Anyways, now let's start.
I eat my feelings every time I'm angry. I'm like, or sad. I'm like,
okay. So basically, like one of the consequences that I've realized, I have emotional eating habits. Yeah. And
even when I'm stressed, I'm like, I need food. I need comfort from food, which is not good.
Yeah, I know.
It's like an unhealthy relationship with food.
Exactly, because like I just realized before I wasn't conscious about it. I would just be like, oh, whenever I had a stressful day, okay, let me get a poutine.
Yeah,
let me get a burger.
I need to treat myself.
Yeah, let me get something like just gonna make me temporarily feel good, right? But it makes you feel like shit after. But then before I would just thought like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm craving my cravings. Then recently I realized that every time I'm like, I feel shit about my day, or like I need something to make me feel better, like greasy food or like this, but it's like not good because you think it's your cravings, but it's not. It's just because in the headspace that you're in. So now every time you feel like in a shitty mood, you're gonna associate to like getting like, fast food or something, but that fast food you're gonna think related to happiness, but it's not.
It's actually making you feel worse.
Exactly. So now what I tell myself every time I want to like get like fast food or whatever, like sometimes it's okay to have fast food. Just like realize when you're doing it. Are you doing it just like to enjoy, or are you doing it when you're always in a shitty mood to like help your day get better? Because then that becomes like not a good of like a habit. And now what I do is I try to think about how I feel after I eat the fast food before I order anything. I'm just like, you're gonna feel shitty. Sometimes I still do it because I'm like, I'll take it. Like, Sometimes it's like, I need it. I won't do it anymore, but I still do it. So I try to think about like, okay, how would I feel after I eat this? So that way I like try to convince myself not to. But it's just like a salad when you're sad. It just doesn't feel. It's not the same. But it could be good. It's just like I guess I don't know. That's what emotional eating is.
But it's also it's like you're not even hungry, but you're like I need to treat myself.
I need something that'll it'll just like have, because food does create pleasure. Like I don't know what they have, like endorphins or something.
I don't know.
It's like
I'm
some
not
type of
into
happiness,
science.
some type of happiness, but obviously it's not like permanent. It's just temporary in the moment. So like that's like, but yeah, that's a big thing. And like I didn't realize I really did it until like I was like conscious about it.
I always realized like when I, especially during final season, I overeat so much because I'm so stressed.
God,
but it's like I eat when I'm not hungry, and it's like, what am I doing? I'm just like overfeeding
and you
myself.
like convince yourself that you're hungry, and like you're like.
But then I get into I'm like, am I bored or am I hungry?
Yeah, it's hard sometimes because you like trick your body into thinking that you're hungry, but you're not.
Yeah.
Because you also like. And you're a lot of times you're disappointed when you get the food because you're just like, okay, this wasn't as good as I thought it would be. It wasn't worth it, and I spent money, so
it was in that moment. So you just needed it.
Also, like, okay, sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot, but also like growing up, I feel like I had like different relationships with my siblings, which not that it caused like trauma necessarily, but like. Because family, you assume that you're always gonna get along, right? But that's not necessarily true. Some of your it's just like they're your family. Yeah, like you know what I mean. Like you're not always gonna be close to them, and I feel like it could create maybe not trauma, but like feelings of like hurt too. Because let's say you're not close to your siblings and they do something to you, you're gonna take it personally because it's your sibling. So that can create kind of like resentment towards them, or if they're living a life that like you don't necessarily agree, and because your family you care, right? Like if they're doing things that are stupid, or like they're making mistakes in their life, or they're like putting themselves in danger, like it affects you and it stresses you out. So I feel like you can get traumatized from like your sibling relationships and their actions almost.
And I think it's easier to criticize family than it is like strangers or friends,
because you don't have a personal relationship really. Well, your friends,
yes, but it's also because like it's like you think family's always gonna be there, which is not the case.
It's not,
because if you're treating someone like shit, like they completely have the right to leave.
Exactly. And I think sometimes in your family you think like, oh, they're my blood, so I have to be for. But no, if you're doing dumb shit and you're a human being, I'm sorry, I have my own life to like bye. And like I also say like friends are cool because they're the family you choose basically, and sometimes they're more relevant in your life than your actual family, because like honestly your family is by blood, yes, you're related to them, and you could be related, like you could emotionally connect to them as well, but sometimes you might not be, and like that's okay. Like I have like I have two brothers, and one of them I'm closer to, the other one not as much, but like it's not a bad thing, it's just the way things are, but yeah, I feel like that's underrated. I feel like trauma from like sibling relationships, like
honestly from any relationships though, like,
exactly, you could have like toxic behaviors, but I just feel like because you consider them family, it's like impacts you, like their actions, you take the stress, so that could like traumatize you because you're always carrying like their shit on you, so which is not shouldn't be the case, because like you have to focus on your own life, even if it is your own family, like if it's affecting your life negatively, like you don't need to put that on your shoulders. Oh my god, I just thought about something else. Sorry, okay, do you want to add more stuff?
No, it's okay. Go.
Okay, I just thought about this, but it's very like prominent in the brown culture. But I learned about this on TikTok, y'all. So there's like individualistic society and like collective society or something. And basically, I learned that brown cultures are collective. That's why
a lot of Asian cultures
are. But here, like the Western, it's individualistic. And I have a bit of I'm more individualistic, I think, because I grew up in this mentality. But that's what I realized why sometimes I clash with like my mom or my dad's not as traditional as my mom, but I clash with certain like family like older aunts or whatever, because they have a so that made me understand shit, because I was like, because for example us, like if your a son or daughter doesn't go to school, like it's like dishonoring your family, like putting shame to your family, even though it's not like it's like, okay, but it's my life if I don't want to go to school. But for the parents, it's like, no, it's for all of us, like your happiness is not your happiness, it's like everyone else's happiness. And it's like you do things, like in that culture, you do things to make everyone happy, not you happy. But here it's, no, fuck off. I do what makes me happy.
And that's a lot of pressure
to put
on someone.
But that's why it's like, I used to think, like, okay, my way is correct. Like, why would I do anything for anyone else? But then I understand, because if you grew up in that mindset and, like...
It's two different cultures.
It's not wrong or right. Clash. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, yo, that made me... That opened my eyes. I was like, oh, shit. I didn't know there was a word for it. I just thought it's, like, brown culture or, like, whatever culture, like, does it, you know? And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like, I didn't know there was a term. I always knew, like, for them it's not individual happiness, but I was like, oh.
And that's always like, I feel like that's always a problem when you're like a first or second generation like Canadian, and then, like your parents or your grandparents are from another country,
because they didn't grow up,
because they don't understand. Like I used to remember my grandmother would make so many comments like that I did not agree with, but I'm like, I don't want to upset her because she's like old. So I'm like, I need to respect, you know? Exactly. So I was just like, oh, like there's a lot of things that like she used to say that I'm like,
I don't agree.
Maybe we shouldn't say that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, thank God you don't speak English.
I should just be telling everyone, like, hey, this is wrong.
Literally, I'm like, but yeah. No, I understand that.
So that's like, my point was that it could be traumatizing too, like if you grow up in a Western culture and then your parents are like you said, you're like first or second gen, and they're growing up with that mentality and they're like putting that on you. So I think a lot of like, I know probably other cultures, but I'm talking like from the brown culture, obviously, because that's what I know. And like a lot of parents do this. I know a lot of people can relate to this. That's why I saw so many brown people posting about this. So that's kind of traumatizing because you feel guilt when you're living your life. You're like, oh, but my mom doesn't necessarily, like, let's say your parents wanted you to be a doctor and engineer, right? That's like the typical stereotype for like brown people and their kids. But you want to be a fucking artist. But they're like, but no, like we have standards. Like they look at it as like, oh, the bottom. Yeah,
exactly. Because they're like, oh, how are you going to be stable?
Yeah,
like, how
you're not going to support money us? With an artist. What the heck? Like, what is that? And so it's like creates trauma and guilt because then you're like, okay, do I choose between like my parents' happiness? Or my happiness? And it's like, shit. Because then if your parents aren't happy and they're not happy with you, then that's going to ruin your life too. Because which one do you do? But at the end of the day, no. If your parents love you, they're going to be okay with what you do. And I think that's the best. Just not individual, but like think about your happiness. You need also.
Always think about your happiness.
You'll be miserable after if you don't.
It's not going to be good.
We don't want that.
Okay. I want to say, going back a bit to like the childhood trauma. I was thinking about like how I used to act, and I was a psycho as a kid. Like super,
I feel like you mentioned like very crazy, like outgoing,
like loud, always doing weird shit, blah blah blah, all that stuff. And like then I think like elementary school, I used to get kind of comments about like from other people about it, and like at that point I didn't care because I'm like, oh, I literally used to be called crazy Kathy, like shit like that. Like I was a psycho basically. As soon as I hit puberty, I started going silent. Like I was like, people were like, oh, you're so shy now, like what happened, blah blah blah. But it's not because I was shy.
Now you're complaining? You were calling me crazy?
Literally. I'm like, it's not because I was shy, it's because people called me weird and
so
like
I had to like dissociate from myself.
And I'm like, so I had to become a new person. I had to get a new
personality. That is traumatic. Is that not trauma?
No, literally, because even like even my parents, they were like, what happened? Like, you used to be so, like, outgoing, and now you're always quiet all the time. You don't, like, want to talk, like, stuff like that. Because even in high school, like, at the beginning of high school, I was, like, always silent.
That's so sad.
Yeah. No, and then I was like, but it's, like, literally just because I would get, like, small, it's always these passive comments. And I don't know why. Because right now, passive comments don't affect me. And, like...
But that's because you, like, learned for it not to, maybe.
Yeah. But I think, like... they just built up. Because even in those moments, I'd brush it off and be like, hey,
but it's when you hear it constantly.
But then, because it was constant, I think subconsciously I used to be like, okay, I need to tone it down a little. Like, I can't act like this.
So that's the worst.
Yeah, so now I'm very like,
no.
I know how to compose myself.
No, fuck being composed.
You know? No. But then, like... sometimes it comes out like on my 18th birthday.
No, it needs to come out. I want to see.
No, I know. But like I feel like I'm more outgoing like I used to be like, now than between high school and like I think beginning of college and then like college hit, then I felt like I became more like myself.
Yourself.
Because I was more like
you weren't ashamed of being loud or like
And it's also because like the type of group of friends that we had
we're all loud,
like psychos, so I feel like it was kind of
like you found a group of people that are like just kind of like you in a way, and they're
I feel like when you're in high school, you're always scared of people judging you because you're like, these are the people that are going to see me for 5 years straight.
And it's also like you're only hearing one side. You're only hearing people say like, oh, you're loud, or you're not hearing people say like, oh my god, that's so cool, like I'm loud too. So you were influenced by like that opinion that like, oh, you're loud.
Yeah, and it also kind of gets into the people pleasing because I always wanted people to like me.
Adapting
so I'm like, if they're not, so if they're not liking me, then I'm like, okay, let me get quiet and let me not.
Because everyone wants to feel included.
Yeah, and I also like stopped speaking my mind. Like I was not as opinionated because I'm like, whatever, like I don't care that much. Blah blah blah. But I did. I wanted to say much
stuff. Yeah, I feel like I do that nowadays. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, I have like a thought that came up that's like kind of like no one said it, but then I think like, oh, if no one said it, it must be because it's not
the case.
Yeah, but then after, because I thought like I would this is fucked up, but I would think like they're smarter than me. Like, they would have said it.
Especially in school, I would never want to say an answer because I'm like, what if I'm wrong? Yeah, like, it doesn't give a shit. Like you're learning.
But then I realized that, oh shit, I'm actually smart. They just didn't think of it. Yeah. But I never would say it because I'm like, no, if they're the smarter ones, they would. That's fucked up. And I still do that to this day.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it. Yeah. But also the being loud, I could relate to because like I'm obviously loud too. And like sometimes I would get insecure. I'm like, oh shit, because people would be like, stop screaming or stop. And at times, yes. Yeah. It's like there's times where you need to.
But if you're telling me every time, like I can't.
Exactly.
Like,
if you're telling
excited,
me on a normal day, like I can never say anything. But so sometimes I would get insecure. I'm like, oh, and like even like just like in your romantic life, like, oh, guys don't like loud girls, or like you're annoying, like, you know what I mean?
If so they can't handle a loud girl, they can't. They
can't hang. No. They need to leave. So don't change yourself. But I would always get insecure. But now my mentality is like, well, they're just not meant to be in your life. Like that's
they're just not for you.
Exactly. And then like I'm fun. Like I don't know what you're talking about. But bye.
How boring is it to be quiet?
Not speak like, and the stereotype for women to like be very obviously that's breaking nowadays, like it's not, but like, you know, I feel like if men see guys being loud, oh, that's fine, they're guys, they're obnoxious.
People are like, oh, that's so funny. Exactly. If it's women, like, you know what, I still do that though. Like subconsciously I'm like, okay, they're so loud, can they calm down? But then I'm like, they're having fun.
But well, sometimes you're like
it depends on the situation.
You're just in moods. But
at the museum in Toronto, there was freaking people like,
I need to be quiet.
That's what I thought too. There was this couple. This girl was like literally yelling. Her boyfriend was like talking about a painting. She's like, "Oh my god, that's so true."
Okay, but there's some that are like obnoxiously loud.
I was like, "Girl." I'm like, I get you're excited, but we're in a museum.
But some people are obnoxious, like dumb loud. Yeah. Like, you know?
No, like literally, I'm like, leave the room.
Yeah, it's just like you don't. Like, we're just fun loud. Yeah. We're not the obnoxious loud. But yeah, I feel you about that, like, insecurity too. But I'm happy that the real Kathy is out there and shining, and those little bullies didn't destroy you. Fuck you. I said fuck you too many times. Oh my god. Oh, this is funny. Okay, one of my like, I feel like consequences of like trauma is humor. Is that I feel like I always see the quote where it's like sad people like are the ones that smile, like not to be like dramatic or anything, the most jokes. But I feel like I use humor as a cope because I'll use like not dark humor, but like things that happen and just like make jokes about it. Like sometimes it'll be dark, sometimes it won't. But that's like how I cope with situations, or like I make fun of myself, and like I think that's the way that I like just learn to cope. But I'm also,
because that's like I'd rather make fun of myself than you make fun of me.
So before you I didn't think of that. It's like almost before you get the opportunity to pick on me, I'll pick on myself.
No. I said it. So,
but I mean, you still have to be kind to yourself. But I think it is a way that like I use humor sometimes. I like comedy in general. Yeah. But I think I do like that may play a part in me just like dealing with stress or like whatever. Like let's say, like for example, let's say I didn't study for an exam and I know I'm gonna fail. I'm like, it's fine. Like I just it's like fine.
Yeah. There's like a tear coming down.
Like at the end of the day, I can't control, so I kind of use it as just like maybe not with trauma necessarily, but I think like if you're going through traumatic things and like you wanna heal or something, like sometimes you just make jokes or whatever.
No, for
like,
sure.
That's how you deal with it. But
and I feel like
a majority of people do. Way, but exactly. But like,
no, I get what you're saying.
There's like truth to the humor sometimes, you know.
Yeah. No, I got that. I feel like I keep going back to what we previously spoke about. Like I should have said it. No. But like when you started talking about your parents and stuff, I realized that this is like, it's negative, but also positive.
Yeah.
But my parents are very success oriented.
Yeah.
And because of that, I could not bring home a test if I didn't get 80 or over.
Bro.
I like would get so stressed to the point where I wanted to throw up.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I show my mom that I got a 70.
Yeah. You like disappointed them. And
she's like, what happened? And I'd be like, oh. And I'd always be like, oh, but the whole class didn't do well.
Yeah, like you have to put an excuse in.
Yeah,
so it
I'm
makes
like,
you
oh, but like they got this. Yeah, exactly. You know, so I did better than that. The class average was this. Yeah. Like, and sometimes I'd lie because I'm like, I'm so scared to tell you like that I didn't do well. And like in that moment, like I feel like that was kind of negative because I felt like I was always being put down.
Yeah, and you needed to like make yourself like, oh no, I am smart, like I don't need
but it's like I'm not blaming my parents because in their minds it's just like I just want to see you do your best and I want you to succeed in life, so like let's aim high, let's aim for those high marks, stuff like. Even my dad, he used to joke that he's like, I'm not signing anything under 90s, like you know when you have to sign tests?
And the teacher's gonna be like
so like my dad would never sign my test. I always had to go with my mom, and my mom is scarier than my dad. So I'd always be like, oh, fuck you. Like, I got this.
Yeah. I got this.
Yeah, and I feel like because of that, now, like, I'm a type 3, I'm success oriented, I'm always like striving to results. Like, I always want to see the results, and I think because I was always like
trained that
like
way?
Pressured to like always be successful, now I'm like, if I don't see like high results, if I don't succeed at this, then like I'm always like put off.
Yeah, I get it.
You know?
But like, yeah, exactly like what you were saying. I think, it's not like your parents just want the best for you. They wanted you like to be successful from the start and just like do well, which is like normal.
But it also caused a lot of anxiety, and I think that's where my anxiety like started.
But I think what we have to like take into consideration is that the way that like educational institutions are not made for everyone. The way people teach things. So it's like, okay, I got a 70, which is less than an 80, but maybe I don't learn that way. Mm-hmm. Maybe if I had learned this way, I would have got 100, you know? So it's like, I think sometimes our parents may forget those little things that like, because you're not, I don't know if it's like people are becoming more aware that people learn in different styles. Yeah. Maybe people have learning disabilities. Maybe they're strong in certain things. You know, maybe they're not good at like multiple choice questions. So it's not adapted to everyone, right? Mm-hmm. Because society in a way is not made for everyone to succeed, which is sad because there's room for everyone, right?
But it's also like, the educational system is like flawed from the beginning.
Exactly. Because also to maintain their like, reputation and stuff, they need to like trick the system.
Especially in university. Remember there was like, you're still in it, but like there's that quota in marketing that it's like only this % of the class can actually get high marks.
Exactly. Like
which made no sense.
Bro, I never knew this. Once I was in like second year, I was taking a summer class. This man tells me, probably like 5 of you are gonna get A's. Yeah. Because like I need to maintain this average. Yeah. I'm like,
because they want to,
and they will grade you harder. So because it's not like, if you get an A, you get an A. They're gonna do it on purpose to give certain people like the best ones the A's. But let's say you could have gotten an A, he's gonna find the mistakes.
Or what they do is like the entire year, they'll mark you really hard so that you have low grades, so that the final it boosts you up. But then
that's discouraging because if you don't know how the system works, you think it's you. You're like, I'm dumb. I hate
That's always, I'm just like, how did I do so bad? Like, I studied
if I do bad, I blame it on the
studied for like 2 weeks straight, blah, blah, blah. Like, I didn't understand.
But so bad.
because of all that stuff from like when I was in high school and like college and stuff like that. When I was in university, I'm like, how am I not getting high grades?
It doesn't make sense because it's not consistent with like I was doing well.
But it's because they're trying to maintain the school's competitive advantage over other schools.
Like, this is hard to get into, or like, it's a really good like intense program,
which makes no sense. Like, just let us succeed.
I know, but that's so bad on like, we're still adolescent, like we're still growing, we're still.
It affects your mental health.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know, especially going to uni. You don't know. You just think like,
I do people like cry
over a test.
You know how many times not many times, but like I've cried over math tests.
Yeah, it's like, bitch.
People,
1
so many
plus 1
people
equals window. Like, it's fine.
No, but like, why are we crying over school?
Tests that are not even made for you to do.
I had a mental breakdown over school.
Yeah, I know.
Does that make sense?
It sounds stupid. It's like I'm supposed to learn things. Why am I crying?
Exactly.
That's
my
why
God, we're getting heated.
No, but like that's why it's scary. It's because like. That's so bad for your being. Like, you're gonna think you're dumb and when you're not.
Exactly.
It's just that it's not your strength and they're doing it on purpose. Like, it's straightforward, right? Study for the test and you do well on it. No, that's not how it works, apparently.
Yeah. But see, then I'm like, I love those professors that would like, I'm not giving tests type of professors, because they're like, it doesn't really measure anything, because you're just gonna memorize it, spit out the information, and that's it.
Exactly. Maybe which, like, essay is fine.
Exactly. Like, there's some teachers that try to break class that did that. It was like 3 assignments and then 2 essays or
yes.
Or like tests where like
the marketing,
some don't count, like your lowest grade is dropped.
So at least they like try to, there's some professors that actually like try, but like, and will break that system, but most of them are very like, go with the because like, I mean, at the end of the day, they also need that, like, they need to put you in that average because they need that job. But also, don't get discouraged, because doesn't mean you can't do well. Like, for example, that class that I was saying where he's like, oh, only like probably like 6-7 of you will get A's. I ended up getting an A, which is good. I didn't think I would, but that's like very rare for me. So don't get discouraged, but just know that if it's not making sense to you and you're studying really hard, like, it's not always you. Yeah,
it could also just not be your strong suit.
Exactly. So like, I'm not saying settle for like a low grade or something. It's just like, it's not worth sometimes like redoing the class 6 times to get an A, because it might. Not like
it's just not for you. Like I remember studying so hard for science tests, and the information would just not stick. Like I really do not do well in science. And then every time I would get a test, I would get 60s and stuff like that, and I'd be so like pissed, because I'm like, how am I doing so bad if I do so well in other subjects? Exactly, but it's just because it's not the subject for you. It's not
exactly. It's not something you're passionate about. Exactly. You're not even like really learning. You're just fucking like putting it, absorbing it, and then like spitting it out. So like, school is traumatizing, just to say the least.
But I think like as you get older, you start to realize like the flaws within the system, or even within like cultural values. Like you're saying, you start to realize things, and you're like, oh, that's not really the way it should be. So like going forward, I'm not gonna be that way. I'm not gonna follow this way, like stuff like that.
And you learn on your own. You use the internet to learn things and like educate yourself, but like but it just sucks as a child, because you don't know that thing, and like you don't know those things. But like I said, like, even if you learn later on, it still like affects you as you grow up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you have that insecurity of like, oh, I'm not smart enough because I got like a 60 on my test, like, it affects you. You think less of yourself, and you compare yourself, like, how come they got one, or like, you know. But it's not healthy.
And you don't need to dwell on it, because like it really
and then imposter syndrome could come from that too, because like you're doubting yourself because you're not to the like expectations or success of society, and then like it just that's crazy. I needed to heal from
I'm like yelling at this point. Whoa. Oh my God.
Some things that we've spoken about before, like any comments about race, like discrimination, like those are traumatic, and like people experience that day to day, harassment. So like those kind of go into it, but I spoke about like my personal like little family things, like school too, and like the eating and like the results, and I think for me, like that was mostly it, I feel like, and like examples of like trauma on my side. Do you want to add anything?
I think like one last thing I wanted to say, which is a bit like more serious, but I don't want it to be serious. But basically, one of my uncles like passed away, and I was like 5 when it happened, so I didn't really understand it. And like I was like super close with him, like I still have memories of him, but like not that many, because I was so young. And like because I was so young, I feel like it didn't affect me as much as I thought it did.
Because you were young, so you felt like,
so I was just like, oh, he like went to heaven. Like I was always like that. And like because it was like my cousin's father, like, and they were all older than me, like they obviously it affected them more. And I feel like because it affected them and like my parents and my aunt so much, I feel like I took on that energy.
Because you saw what it kind of resulted
because I didn't understand death at that point. I was 5.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like because I took on that energy, and my mom is a very like stay strong type of person. Don't like
show necessarily like that.
Like you're a lot like express your emotions, but like you need to be strong for other people type.
Yeah,
so like because of that, I feel like my emotions are very closed off. Like I think that kind of triggered my closed personality.
More reserved in a way.
Yeah. Because I saw like everyone else how it impacted them, and my mom was like, okay, we need to be strong for like your cousins, like it's their father.
Yeah, like if you are upset and you cry, it's gonna make them cry, so you don't want to like.
But like obviously I was 5 also.
So you're kind of.
But like they. I remember, I don't actually remember this, but I was told this story where like one of my cousins was reading me a book, like I think a day or two after it happened, and like. I asked where he was. Yeah. And like it was their dad, right? Yeah. So they're like trying to be like, oh, it's like I think I made a comment. I'm like, oh, he's an angel now, like stuff like that. Like
that must because like
so like then my dad was like telling me like you don't cry, it's fine, don't need to cry, blah blah blah. And because like I was always like, okay, we need to be strong. We can't cry. We can't do this. We have to. So now it's like I'm not as emotional now because I'm like I have to
like train yourself.
I have to shut it off. Yeah, you know.
I get it.
And also because
but your intentions are like good. It's because you don't want to make other people upset by you because you saw what it did to your like cousins. You're like, oh no, like I triggered like her. So.
Exactly. And also like. Also my grandmother, she was always like in and out of hospitals and she passed away when I was 12, so I was like older and like more understanding of things and like obviously like when she went to the hospital it would scare me, but because she went so often I hated hospitals and I never wanted like I didn't want to visit her because I was uncomfortable because I'm like
and you associated with like bad things.
Yeah, exactly. And I was also like, oh, she's gonna come back, so it's fine. I don't need to visit her, stuff like that.
And almost like if you go, it's like saying that she's not coming back. It's like visiting.
Like I still went to visit her, but I didn't want to. Yeah. Because it was also like I didn't want to show my dad or my parents like this is affecting me.
Because then it might be harder for them.
Exactly, because I didn't want to start like getting emotional because then it was going to be harder for my dad to see like already his mom is in the hospital. So I'm like, let me like
keep it together.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it together. I'm gonna make jokes like stuff like that. Like every time I went, I turned on the TV. I'm like, oh, let's watch this, blah blah blah. But like obviously it was affecting me.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just like shut down. Yeah. You know, like shut it off.
But you should be able to express how you feel because then it's going to be hard for you because you're going to have to cope with it.
And the thing is, it's like my parents didn't teach me to not show my emotions. Yeah. They're just like, oh, we have to be strong. And then we have to be strong for others. Yeah. And because of that, in my mind, I'm like being strong is not crying, not showing that I actually care. Yeah, so exactly. like I said in older episodes, I would always be like, oh, I don't care,
but you care.
But I care. Show exactly. You care. I'd be just like, it's okay. I'd just be like, that's it.
Yeah, like, exactly. But like, I think I totally get it. It's like as a child, you interpret things a certain way, and like you're not analyzing everything. Like, oh, what does being strong mean?
Yeah,
like, what
exactly.
Is it? You're just doing whatever you can to not trigger people or hurt other people.
It's always about putting on a brave face. Exactly. Even if we're fighting with family, it's putting on that face, putting on that...
But no, it's okay to
that
like...
mask to be like, oh, it's fine, everything's fine.
You gotta let go. Because like after too, like your family's there for them to support you too. Yeah. And you support them, vice versa. But like you have to confide your emotions. Like, if you keep them all to yourself, then you're gonna end up hurting and, like, not feeling good. And you're just gonna blow up. Yeah, and then if you can't, like, express yourself to your family, then that relationship also kind of, like, wow, I can't even tell you things that are, like, how I'm feeling, you know? But, like, that must have been, like, a lot, like, traumatizing,
and it's, like, I didn't realize how much it affected me until I got older.
Yeah, exactly.
Because before I'd just be like, okay, obviously it was sad.
Yeah, because you never dealt necessarily with, like...
Yeah, and also, like, my uncle happened when I was so young, so I'm like, obviously it didn't affect me that much. Like, I loved him and like I was super close with him, but like I didn't understand it at that point. But like then I realize now, like even when like my aunt or my parents talk about him or like my grandmother and they start getting emotional, then I automatically get emotional because I never actually let it out.
Yeah, exactly. No, you know? And you said you were close to him also, so. Yeah, and also like learning about death at like 5 years old.
Exactly.
You don't even understand.
Exactly, but that's why I would make comments and like it would cause
other
people to
now you know what it is, so it's like
my God, sorry, this got so
no, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm here.
It's a therapy session.
Shoulder to cry on. The shirt is clean.
But yeah, that's basically.
I'm sorry.
I think that's what like triggered me shutting down and like shutting out my emotions.
That's crazy. Like so many things factor into the way that we are, but it's like imagine we dealt with it differently. How we would be different.
Yeah. No, literally. But it's also like influences from other people obviously affect like how you are.
Yeah, exactly. Like cause your environment, the way, because you're a child, you're learning things from others, right? So it's like, yo, I don't want children. This is too much work. Like, no.
Oh my god. But I think our generation is gonna be really good with children because we understand it. Like we're more aware than like other, and we're more open.
But there's still people that are more traditional because it's like depends what you're passed on and depends what lessons you decide to take, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So but I think
I'm very confident about our friend group.
Yeah, like very much like the mental health, the communication. Exactly. No, honestly, I'm just gonna make our children watch these episodes. Yeah, like listen to this and you're good. You're set for life. Don't listen to this.
Oh my god.
But maybe just quickly, like I don't know if you want to add anything else, but like
I let the load off right now.
And maybe now we can talk about like just quickly some ways to how you could actually like heal from your trauma. So like the first one, obviously this sounds kind of like obvious, oh my god, it's said so much, but like exercising and just like moving your body, but mindful exercising, so kind of linked to like being present, is like feeling like not being in your thoughts, like feeling your feet on the ground, kind of like how Leanna was saying, like feeling your heartbeat. So very like mindful exercises, like knowing that you're here in the present moment. So exercising, moving your body, that could help. That is one thing that might help you. And like something related to what you said, but like not isolating yourself, like using people for support, not like just stay like if you want to be left alone, obviously, but just like don't completely isolate yourself, like have people to talk to and like express your emotions to people and don't like just like stick.
I think another thing is like I feel like you need to think about how far you've come from whatever happened. Yeah. And like obviously if it's something like if it's a big T, it's something like really intense, traumatic and that impacted you, like obviously first of all like go to therapy, like to get through it. Go see a therapist, but it's also to realize like first of all you made the step to actually get through it and like progress in life and like you've made it this far. Then you're gonna go to therapy, you're actually trying to help yourself through it. So I think like also just congratulating yourself and being proud of yourself,
realizing like the improvement and like the steps you've made to come this far, you know, from those like maybe hurtful or like traumatic like moments. That's a good one.
And just like realizing like wow, you got out of it.
And now it's just going forward and like it's gonna get better from here because you went through like that rough patch. Like maybe some things will happen, maybe that will like be traumatic also, like little or big, but like you'll learn how to also deal and cope with those things because you now have like healthy habits and like are going to see someone and like that's really good. And also I guess like not learning how to control your emotions necessarily, like where you wouldn't express them, but just like if you get stressed or anxiety, like having methods to calm yourself down and like like coping control mechanisms. Because because sometimes we kind of like forget how to control ourselves.
And you overwhelm
like,
yourself for
nothing. And like anxiety and stress, like you could go on and on just like stressing about things. So it's knowing when to like, okay, calm yourself down, stop, be aware of your emotions, and like give yourself maybe like a routine, like breathe, drink water, close your eyes, you know, like little things like that.
Yeah, agreed.
And I guess lastly, unless you want to add other things, is like leading a healthy lifestyle, which is like I guess like eating well, taking care of yourself. So
mind, body, spirit.
Exactly. I know it like sounds corny, but these are really simple. Like for everything in life, I feel like we talk about these common things all the time, but it's just like being healthy, mindful, present.
And I feel like people don't realize like how much
the answers are there.
Yeah, how much it'll actually affect you to like work on yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally, and just like people dismiss it because they're like, oh, like everyone always says this, but it's like people always say,
but you have to put in the work. Like, there's no magic answer. There's no like just like special spell you can do and you're like fixed or good. Like you have to. It is a lot of work, but if you do it, you'll see the improvement just little by little, and like I mean, it's there. Like,
yeah.
They're facts.
And just to kind of end off, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, we're so proud of you for making it through whatever you've made it through. 100%.
And you got this.
You're the person you are today because of that.
Exactly. So. Like, no regrets in your life. Like, everything happened because it was supposed to. And it just really, like, is important. What's important is how you deal with things and going forward. But like Kathy said, we're proud of you guys.
Yes. Round of applause for you.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Just close my eyes.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that's like the end of our episode. We hope you guys enjoyed it. It was actually like, I thought it was like, whoa, this is early to talk about these things, but I kind of
we always do this. Yeah, we're always like scared because we're like, oh, it's a bit early. Like, are we gonna have enough?
But then we like we start
rambling
about things.
That's why we keep saying like this is like a therapy session for us and hopefully for you too, so you can kind of like channel your inner thoughts while we're discussing.
And we hope it like helped, and if you want to contribute like any other thoughts, like you guys could leave comments under the YouTube video, our Instagram, Facebook, anywhere, or like if you have any other important points, because obviously we didn't like, there's so much that could be talked about trauma, so obviously like you could do your own research, as we always say.
And if you need someone to talk to, feel free to reach out to us, but also if you need like professional help, seek that professional help. Don't be ashamed of it, because like therapy is for everyone.
So. It's healthy, like when I can afford it, I'm going to do
it.
So but yeah, so we hope you guys enjoyed and found this helpful. If you use any of the tips, let us know. Let us know if it works. But yeah, follow us on Instagram, Wild Thoughts Pod, and our personal Instagrams, Affy the Shrink
and Cat LPX.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and TikTok. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok, because we be wilding on there. So it's also Wild Thoughts Pod, right, on TikTok? Yes, exactly.
And
And that's pretty much it. So we'll see you guys at the next episode.